All right, guys, I think today is the day. So if you've been following me, you know that homegirl's been pregnant for a while. So back history on goats. Goats are typically pregnant for, it's an average of 5 months. However, it's 145 to 152 days. The miniature breeds like Nigerians and pygmies and the fainters, they're usually closer to 145 days. So that is what I marked my due dates off of for my girls. However, 150, 152 is still in the normal range. But Lainey, my white, tan, and black one over here, she was due last Wednesday. If you don't know, today's Monday, and you don't know. Today's Monday. So she's at a day 150 today. I've been checking her every day. She still has her ligaments. We'll touch on that in a second. But she's at a day 150. She still has her ligaments. So I don't know, crazy things can happen. Ladies who've been pregnant, you know, things can escalate quickly. So we'll see. I'll keep checking on her. However, her sister Ella, right next to her, the black with the little white band, she is at day 100 and, what did I say, 148? 5, 6, 7, 148. She doesn't have any ligaments today, so today is going to be her day. Once a doe loses her ligaments, it's typically within 12 hours that she'll deliver. So today is going to be her day. However, I work tonight. It makes me super sad, so hopefully she has them before I have to go to work. I do want to figure out, like, get them dried up, make sure that they're warm and dry, because it is getting a little chilly at night. It's probably 45, almost 50 degrees today with the sun, but once the wind blows, it's really chilly. So I want to be here to make sure that they're dry and warm. Okay, so when a doe is pregnant, okay, backstory. Does do not go into heat. They don't have a normal heat like a dog or a cat. They don't have a period. They have what's called estrus. So the miniatures, Nigerians, pygmies, the fainters, those ones, smaller breeds, they typically go into heat or estrus all year round. It's just easier to call it heat because people understand it better. Usually when you say estrus to people who don't have goats or animals that go through estrus, they don't really know what you're talking about. So it's just easier to say heat because everyone connects on that. So they go through estrus every 3 weeks for about 2 to 3 days. And that is their breeding cycle. But the bigger breeds, the standard breeds, are just like deer, how they only go through estrus in the fall, and that is their breeding season, and then they have babies in the spring. I have all miniatures except for one girl, but she won't be bred until this fall. So these girls can be bred year round. I did blood testing to make sure that they were pregnant, so I know that the ones that are supposed to be pregnant are pregnant. So I based that due date off the day that I bred them because I actually recorded it this time. Usually I just let them run with a buck for 30 days because that includes the entire window of their estrus and their cycle. So I never really knew the due date. I just knew the earliest it could be and the latest it could be, and then I would check them on a regular basis. And y'all, I think that's easier because counting these days has been really hard. Really hard. I keep thinking that it's going to be today, it's going to be today. You know, ladies, you know this. It's going to be today, not today. This has been the longest, like, 5 days of my life. So, last fall when I bred them, I took them to the butt because I could tell when they were estrus because goats are different. Well, not different. They're an animal, so they want to be bred. Animals want to be bred. A lot of people don't understand that, but it's the truth. So my fences between my male and female pens have about 2-foot gap. When the girls are in estrus, they will stand along the fence closest to the males, and they will stand there, they will wag their tails, and they would literally just stand there like all day. And that's how I could tell because they don't normally go over there at all. So they would stand there and I would take them into the buck pen, they would get bred, they would stand for him, and then usually I'd let them stay in a few hours just to make sure that they were actually bred, and then bring them back. Worked like a charm. They were all pregnant. So I was basing off day 145. I'm pretty sure next year I'm gonna do it off 150 and just know in my mind that it could be a couple days earlier because then I won't be like so excited at day 145. That's gonna be today because y'all, it has not been that day. But today's the day. So to tell when a goat is about to go into labor, first of all, it's the ligaments. The ligaments are the number one. And I recommend if you have goats and this is your first kidding season and you're not sure on the whole ligament thing, check them way early so that you find those ligaments, you know what they feel like hard. That way, as the time gets closer, you can feel them getting softer, softer, then gone. Like you already know where they are on that doe. Because if you just go into it and her ligaments are gone and you don't know what you're feeling for in the first place, then you don't know. So always check them. And each doe is in a little different spot because they're all just a little bit different. Each labor is different, each kidding is different, but I will be marking, y'all may be so much better this year, I'm gonna do records, and I will mark the day that these girls go in to actually have their babies so that I know for next year not to get too excited too early. But ligaments, they're called tail ligaments, and it is just like a woman dilating. Once the ligaments are completely gone, that's when they'll give birth. Just like when a woman's fully dilated, that's when she'll give birth. Makes sense, right? But the tail ligaments, they run in a V shape. The tail runs here, and they do not run like right along the tail. They run, this is the tail, and these are the ligaments. They kind of run down and across. They almost follow the leg bones, if that makes sense. You'll feel them when they're hard, they feel like two pencils. And as they get softer, they'll get squishy, and then they'll just be completely gone, and you could literally just pinch the tail together. Another way to tell is that the does usually hollow out. And I'll show you a little bit closer on her. She's real big, so she's not super hollowed out. But I do have a picture, this picture, of a doe that from last year, and you could really see how she hollowed out. It's basically at their hips. You can see just how like a woman drops when she's about to have labor or have a baby. The does will drop, so then they hollow out on the top, and you can see like from their spine to their hips, it just kind of, it's lower and it's hollowed out. That's another way to tell. They paw at the ground. They're just kind of slightly ornery. They'll be up and then they'll be down. Some press their head up against something just to kind of push that pain out, because obviously it's labor. And you can see contractions. Their vulva will actually sink in. They do get a little bit of slime usually on their back end. Their back end will be swollen. They'll be bagged up slightly. My one girl, my day 150 actually, she's bagged up a little bit, but nothing like she should be. So I'm thinking it's probably not going to be today either, which breaks my heart. But we'll see. We'll stay tuned. I'm going to come out every half hour to an hour, depending on, because right now she's up and she's probably having a contraction. She's standing over here. If she starts laying down again, I'll come out more often. I'll just keep coming out and checking on her, and then when it gets close, I will stay with her. Once I think that she's actually in labor, laying down, I can tell that she's uncomfortable, we'll hang out with her. Because really, guys, most goats don't need your help. I like to be there just for my own personal, I want to see it, I like to be a part of it. You know, like that annoying mom who just has to get in there. So that's me. Actually, grandma, I guess it'd be annoying grandma. But they'll deliver perfectly fine on their own. I mean, weather conditions pending, you know, goats will deliver on their own. They don't need you. The only thing I ever take out is a towel and iodine to put on their umbilical cords, but oh no. So yeah, they don't need you. They're an animal. They've been doing this for hundreds of years on their own. They'll be fine. That's it. We'll stay tuned. We'll keep watching her. Coming out every now and then. We'll see what happens. Ready with the towel. I'm not helping, I'm not pulling, I just have it, I lifted the baby up so that it's not pushing up against the ground so that it comes out smoothly. And as you can see here, it immediately kicks the sac open. And I'm wiping its face just to make sure that the airway isn't blocked. But other than that, I let her clean it off the rest of the way for the most part. So I immediately noticed once the second one came out that it was not moving. The other one first one had broken free. This one had just fallen. And the sack was also a lot thicker than the first one. So I pulled it open, and this is me rubbing him to try to bring him back, which I did for several minutes. Unfortunately, it did not happen. We never got him back. So eventually I ended up just taking him away because she was very interested in cleaning him, and it was sad. So we lost him, and I took him away so that she could focus on the little girl. So that was sad. She didn't really do anything, and it moved a little bit, but I don't know if I did pull them into the goat barn, and I had a heat lamp in because it was a little bit chilly. And I did actually lock them in just because I didn't want her to go out with the other goats. I put her sister Lainey in there as well, the one that was supposed to have been due a few days ago, just in case she ended up having him in the middle of the night. But all was well. So she liked the heat lamp. They both enjoyed it. So they did pretty well their first couple nights. Well, we did it, guys. Baby girl from Ella. We shall name her Minnie.